Here is the starting lineup for the Diamondbacks. Jeff Banister, their bench coach, is joining us, and there are some changes here. Now, Alec Thomas is getting a start, even though it's lefty versus lefty, a left-handed starter. Andrew Heaney, although, again, it's not going to be lefties throughout, but it will start that way. And Evan Longoria has a seat. Emmanuel Rivera is playing third base, right-handed hitter, gets in there. Jeff Banister joins us now, bench coach for Arizona, former manager of the year, and manager of the year with the Texas Rangers a few years back. Jeff, always a pleasure to see you, always a pleasure to talk baseball with you.
Outstanding. Thanks for having me. It's what a great environment to be in a World Series and against the old club. So it's a little more special for me.
Yeah, what does that mean? Because there's so many guys that I've seen with Texas that have been here throughout, right? A lot of guys in the front office, a lot of coaching staff have been here 12, 14 years. You know these guys.
Know them very well, and there's a ton of people inside those walls that I was with. We sweated together, we cried together, we laughed together, we celebrated together. And I'm so proud of what they've been able to do. And listen, if we had to play somebody, it's wonderful to be matching up against the Rangers.
You did a good job there. You had 88 wins, 95 wins with Texas years back. I have one
Tipping
more.
champagne with Texas.
I have one more for you because, again, I remember when you were with Pittsburgh, when it really was at the changeover to, hey, let's get baseball ops and get this information, the information from the kids, the baseball ops people, and let's utilize this. And you and Clint Hurdle were among the first to say, we're going to utilize all this information, and you jumped out ahead.
Well, you know what? It goes a little deeper than that for me. Listen, when I was a young manager in the minor leagues, I would have Chuck Tanner, I would have Bill Verdon, Willie Stargell. These guys would come in and sit on the bench with me, and they would talk baseball. But they had this Rolodex information in their mind and how they saw the game, their vision of the game, and the players, and they would tell me things that almost like they could foresee what was going to happen. Well, what I took away from that is these guys, they thought the game differently, they knew the game differently, they kept a Rolodex of information inside their minds. Fast forward into the data age to where we can collect, we can project, and so it gave me a whole new avenue in us in Pittsburgh, a small market team that we had to maximize our athletes, right. Put them in position of try to project an outcome that's best for us. And so that's why I became a little more involved, way more interested, and I gave you the line, it's truth versus tradition, right? We get mired in this whole tradition of what the game is. Some of that is true. We got to hold on to it. But the truth is that over the course of 162, we got to be able to put our players in a position of success, and that information is going to give us an opportunity to do that.
Wow, excellent.
I assume Thomas is in the lineup. Defense, he's hit well, and Mantiply might not even get to him. Why Rivera tonight?
Well, you know what? Rivera's been swinging the bat very well for us. He's gotten a couple of hits. The barrel is starting to show up for us. He's been a guy that we utilize versus left-handers throughout the year. We felt like this is an opportunity to get his bat back in the lineup.
So a bullpen game, you know it's going to happen. I'm curious of discussions because you got to be going back and forth. No, this guy needs to be here. No, this has got to happen. How open is the dialogue, and how fun is that to sit there and go, all right, let's put it out here. Let's get the lineup together. You
know, that might be one of the more fun conversations that we have because you're going to get information from so many sources. And Torey does such a great job of being so collaborative and bringing everybody into the office with us and as we talk this over. And the thing that we have to be able to do too is we got to step out on the ledge and kind of project, how long is Heaney going to stay in the game? Where are they going to go after?
Where do you think they're going after this?
Yeah, it's a great question. Listen, we have.
I'm sure he has some ideas.
We have some thoughts. Yeah. Boch is a great manager. He doesn't need information from me.
I love it. I love it.
That's great. Now, how does it work now? Because you guys you're a very baseball-y team, but that means being aggressive. That means knowing the odds, projecting like where. So you tell me how you integrate your information to get it out on the field.
Well, so obviously, we talk about our front office and all of our guys underneath that give us information. But I think what our coaching staff, when you look at our coaching staff, and we're a little bit older than most.
Yeah, right.
Experienced and have the ability to utilize the information, but also use that information to better serve our players, put them in a position of success. Torrey does a great job of looking at the matchups and the trajectories of where we're going to go within the game and how he utilizes the guys coming out of the bullpen. But in our game now, with the ability to use your pinch hitters and how you bring them in and deploy them, I mean, there have been a couple different times where we've used 2 players to get to 1. Last night being Pavin, Rivera getting to the matchup that we were looking for. Then it becomes, how does Torrey use our bullpen arms coming out with a three batter minimum? You got to be pretty good at that now.
Right.
You can't just go mix and match like we used to. So there is, for me, Torrey does a tremendous job of digesting that information, knowing who he has out there, what's inside the heart of that player, and what situations he can bring him in.
I brain locked. I had you facing Mantiply instead of Haney here a second ago. You and I were talking on the field in Dallas, in Arlington a few days ago. We saw you hug Beltre there. I saw you hug Beltre and his son the other day. Away from the World Series a little, I told you something. I said, a lot of people, you vote for the Hall of Fame, you hold your nose when you do it. I'm going to be thrilled to put the check mark. And you talked about Beltre's toughness. Tell us about how tough about that.
And thank you. To get to talk about such a great player, a great human being, but a great player. I always got to see it from the other side, but when I stepped into the doors in Texas to get to know really who Adrian is, this is a guy that, with a smile on his face, competes as hard or better than anybody ever been around. And he'll smile at you, and he'll want to beat you at the same time. And he may not hug you, but he's going to pick you up after he beats you. No, this is a tough human being. Coming out of 15, I tell the story, spring training, he pulled his hamstring the last few days of spring training, and we had some pretty spirited conversations about going on the IL or not. And he was never a guy that wanted to go on the IL. He was going to play through it. So we talked about it. We get to Texas, and he's out swinging, and he blows an oblique while he's taking batting practice. Now he's got an oblique, and he's got a hamstring. And he's, no, Skip, I'll play through it. And I'm like, there's no way you can play through this. Well, not only did he play through it, limping, and could barely get swings off, but he was pretty magical coming out of the start of 15. And then we fast forward to the later on in the season, I think it was 16, he slides into second base, compound dislocation of his thumb. They do surgery. I think it was the shortest period of time I've ever seen anybody. And he was back in I think 15 days, but still had stitches and still, doing magical things on a baseball field.
Wow. See, that is cut of jib index. That is, you can't quite quantify, but you know it when you see it. That's exactly what we're talking about. And again, it's interesting. Brent Strom, you, right? Like older guys, new age thinkers. And it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thanks for having me.
And congratulations on the success and the pennant. Good luck tonight. Jeff Banister there.